Alright guys, I'm back. I'm just here to give you an overview of the menu, which I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it's not much talked about, because if you owned an Xbox before, this will be all familiar to you because it uses exactly the same one. First complaint I have, still, it renders in 1080p, full HD. It's not rendering in 4K, so if you're playing a video game and then you go back into this menu, straight away you can see the difference. You see it's going to fussy, it's going a little bit fussy. For me, it's not a deal breaker, obviously not, of course not, but it's nice if it could render 4K, you know. I'm sure there'll be an update further into the future where they're going to do it, but hey, PS5 is doing it now. Your PS5 has got renders in 4K. If PS5 is able to render in 4K, Xbox Series X should easily render it in 4K as well. I don't think it's a question of power. You know, it's, I don't know. Yeah, it's just, you know. Another thing is totally unrelated. I'm going to talk about it. Is here. Let's go into my games. Let's get there. I bought the disc version of the game. And what does it tell me? It tells me the disc holds 1.11 gigabytes. I'm sure that's not the game. So, and the rest is downloaded through the internet. So to me, okay, what's the whole point of buying the disc? Okay, apart from the trading, you'll be able to trade in or sell it off or give it to someone else. Okay, you can give it to your family member. I understand that, but say I don't have internet right now, okay, and I cannot download the update or the rest of the game through the internet. I've got a game with this probably unusable, unplayable. I can't play it. For me, the whole thing is to buying a disc is be able to play, even if I don't get the update, I'll still play it. But by just looking at the amount that the disc is holding, 1.11 gigabytes, there's no way in hell that's playable. That's definitely not playable. You'll be able to get to the menu, if you get to the menu. Anyways, that's that point. As I said, there's not much to talk about. Guys, the menu is completely the same thing. If you got an Xbox before, you're gonna be used to this. There's one thing I have to say. If you, like me, if you use a Dolby Atmos sound, and then because when I logged in, all my settings, Microsoft updated my settings on the new console. One thing I didn't do is update my settings on this for the sound for Dolby Atmos. I had to actually manually go into settings, and download Dolby Atmos app. Somehow it didn't automatically do it like the rest of my apps. I had to do it manually, which is not a big deal. Okay, here the only difference here is before on the Xbox One X you had using HDMI audio headset or what's it called, optical disc or optical drive. Because Series X doesn't support optical, you only get this option now. Okay, apart from that, again, same thing, you know, it's completely the same thing. Another thing is this game has been downloading for about 2 hours, and I think I still have another hour and a half yet to download. I know I'm downloading stuff on the One X because I gave the One X to my son, and so I've got two consoles downloading stuff. But my speed is quite fast. My internet connection is very stable, so there's no. Don't think that'll be a reason why it's taking so long. But you know, I wish they just make it easier, you know, to download the stuff or make it faster or find any other way, because it's just taking ages. You know, I've got the Xbox 3 hours, 4 hours ago. I still haven't been able to play anything. Thankfully, I had a SSD drive, a separate SSD drive that I used to use with my One X. So I downloaded a couple of games from there. So I had those two games were installed on the SSD. And I say, if you have an SSD, download the games from your other Xbox if you're upgrading, and transfer it to this Xbox is a lot faster. Basically, for those two games, it probably took me about 20 minutes to download both games. That one there has been for 2 hours downloaded from the internet. It's ridiculous. And anyways, that's all. Not much to say. Another thing is, it's the name. Like the Series X, but it's confusing. If it's confusing for me, which has been I've been an Xbox, I wouldn't say Xbox gamer. I've been a gamer. I'm lucky enough to have owned both the PS4, Xbox One, then PS4 Pro, Xbox One X. The same thing on PS3 and Xbox 360. Now I've got the Xbox Series X, and I'll have the PS5 next week. But the name is confusing. If I would send my parents, but no, not really. I'm not old enough to send my parents. I don't need to send my parents. But if I didn't know anything about gaming, it's like the same thing. If I send my wife doesn't know anything about gaming. If I send my wife to go buy an Xbox, the new Xbox for my son, I think it'll be very confusing for her to know the difference between Xbox One X and Xbox Series X. Why? Because the name is so similar that by the time she's gone to the shop, she probably, and if she doesn't ask anyone, you can always ask. Of course, you can always ask. But if you don't ask anyone, or you just buy it online, it can get confusing. You might end up buying the wrong Xbox. Anyway, I think, as I said, there's not much to talk about this. The menu is the same thing. If you had an Xbox before, you know all about it. So I'm not gonna bother you anymore. Guys, thank you. I'm sorry for the mistakes I made while making the video. I don't edit anything. I'm new to this. I'm doing it for my pleasure as well. I want to do some videos later with my kid, as I actually gave him the Xbox One X for him, and I'm looking forward to playing with him. At the moment, he's being a Nintendo Switch, playing with the Nintendo Switch, but now I want him on the Xbox with me. So thank you guys. Until the next video.